the Sherman Griffin. The Sherman Griffin, yeah. Welcome to this evening's Sherman Griffin promotional event with your host, Executive Director, Heinzel Kunzman.
Hello, my name is Heinzel Kunzman. I am the Executive Director for the Sherman Griffin Project. I'd like to welcome the audiences at Alexian Village, at the VA, various places throughout Sherman Park, and then also recently Big Head Brewing Company. They've been providing our beer here during the summer, and I think they streamed our show last Saturday, and they have the link to do that today. If anyone over there at Big Head Brewing is watching, welcome to our show here today. I'll introduce the Sherman Griffin Project for those of you that are new to this. The Sherman Griffin Project is a proposed project to take an abandoned building located at 38th and Center and renovate it so that the first floor is a cafe run by the Belton family. The second floor will have a music school, which will be a 501c3 organization. There will also be a performance venue for live music in the cafe, and also outside in the gardens there will be a rotunda area. You can go to our website, theshermangriffin.org, to learn more about it. There's some renderings of the construction as well as blueprints, and a lot of past events. Some of these promotional events we've done all of the promotional events we've done this summer are up there. You can learn more about the project. It's going to cost about $1 million to do the renovations. We hope to get about $400,000 in city grants, another $400,000 in foundation grants. $100,000 will be available to investors as shares, and another $100,000 in crowdfunding. So the crowdfunding is where your help could be very valuable. To this point, we've raised about $4,500, so we're definitely short of our $100,000 goal, although we will try to pick things up in September. So the crowdfunding goal is where your help could be really valuable. If you've gone to the website or you've learned about the Sherman Griffin Project and you feel it's something you want to contribute to financially, there's a PayPal button on the web page, on the home page, right away when you open up the page. You can donate directly through there. Or if you'd like to make a donation of greater than $250, I would strongly recommend you contact me directly. Today I got prepared and put my cell phone number in the comment section there, so you can text me a message there or call me directly. I'll give you my home address then, and you can mail your donation to my home, and I will respond with a letter of receipt that I'll mail back to you. And you can use that letter of receipt to write your donation off on your next tax returns, because the music school is a 501c3 organization, so all your donations would be tax deductible. The performance venue, I want to talk about that a little bit right now, because in the future when we have our space, the performance venue is mainly intended for live jazz, and we want to showcase as many subgenres of jazz as possible, whether it's Latin jazz or fusion or any progressive mix of jazz. We want to definitely feature all those subgenres. Those events would take place on Friday and Saturday evenings. We'd have two sessions, one beginning at 8 o'clock and then another one beginning at 9:30. So each would be about an hour and a half long. And one of those four, so we'd have four sessions in total, right? Two on Friday and then two on Saturday evening. And one of those sessions would be might be a stand-up comedy performance or a poetry reading, something different, a little off the beaten path. And then in addition to that, on Sunday afternoons, after church lets out about 1 or 2 in the afternoon, when the weather's nice, we have a rotunda area outside. The plan is there's a green space that's next to the building. We would have gardens there, and we would also have live music on Sunday afternoons. And that music is mainly intended to showcase gospel music or classical music. And classical music mainly for chamber groups like string ensembles, but it could also be like a piano solo, like what I frequently do. It doesn't have to, but it would be something different from jazz, what we usually have on Friday and Saturday evenings. So that's why we're having this performance today. Today is going to be our first and our only performance featuring a classical musician. We had a gospel musician way back in April. Quentin Wormley came here. We didn't have an audience at that time because people were still in quarantine, and it was really cold out. It was like the beginning of April, and Quentin was out here and freezing his fingers off, but did an amazing job outside in the cold on the keyboard. You can actually go through our event history on our website to find that. It's pretty fun to watch. Today we're going to have our first and our only classical performance for these promotional events. Today is the 19th promotional event. Next week will be the 20th, and that's supposed to be our last one, but who knows? People always come up with ideas when things are over. So officially, that's the next week is going to be our final promotional event of the summer. That's Saturday, August 14th. We'll have the Neil Davis and Company, Sam. I'm forgetting his last name, on guitar, and then we have Yanni Chudno on drums and George Ballesteros on bass. So that's next week, Saturday. But first today we're going to have Charlie Rasmussen on cello. He's got cello, and we got a great audience here today too. And we're grilling, and we got barbecue. All right, we're grilling, and we got a bar open here. So yeah, make some noise. All right, and Charlie's not only going to be playing cello, but he's also going to be performing on the viola da gamba, and I'll let him talk about anything that he needs to introduce his instrument or the music, and then a little bit later I will be joining him, accompanying him on the piano. We have some very beautiful smaller pieces as well as a larger Beethoven sonata. So I'm going to move the mic and give it away to Charlie.
Hey, Charlie.
Great, thank you, Heinzel. Can you hear me okay through the microphone? Is that going through?
Probably have to get a little closer.
A little closer. Okay. As Heinzel mentioned, this instrument that I'm going to play for you first is called the viola da gamba, and this was an instrument that was very popular in the Renaissance and Baroque eras. And so I'm going to be starting for you today with a piece, a Retrocata by Diego Ortiz, who was one of the earlier composers for the solo viola da gamba. And this Retrocata is based on a song, Dolce Memoir. And so this was pretty common in the time period where composers would take a song that they knew and they would write it out for instruments, for ensembles. And because the song was well known, anyone who was listening to it would recognize the tune. Tuning first. Humid outside today. So this is a Retrocata by Diego Ortiz. Great, thank you. Thank you, thank you. So next, so that was an early Renaissance viol piece. We're next going to go to very early Baroque, and I'm going to play a tune by Tobias Hume, who was a captain in the Scottish Army, and this tune is called A Soldier's Resolution. And so in this song, you're going to hear, there are a lot of different parts of the song where he imitates different things that would have been heard in the military at the time. This is from 1605. And so you'll hear things like you'll hear a drum, you'll hear trumpets, and so he's kind of recreating some of the sounds that would have been heard there. And again, tuning first. The humidity. All right, so this is Tobias Hume, A Soldier's Resolution. All right, thank you. I'm gonna play one more on viola da gamba. Get a little chair slip here. I'm gonna play one more. I'm gonna play for you a chaconne, which was a popular French dance and also Italian dance from the Baroque era. And in this piece, you're going to hear a little bit of something that's called inegal, which means that you're going to hear a little bit of unevenness in some of the notes. And this is something similar to like a swung eighth note in jazz. And it was commonly used in the French Baroque era. And again, tuning first. Was that? Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, the strings, so the strings are gut strings, which are much more sensitive to humidity changes. All right, so this is Chaconne by Demaci. Thank you. Yeah. All right. So now we're going to switch, and I'm going to switch to get my cello. What was that thing? What was that? Viola da gamba. I missed that part. We'll talk more about it a little bit. Scott has good voices too. How you tune it and stuff. We'll talk about that in a second. Oh, yeah? We'll have to see what I find out if that's true. We'll have to play a little bit. I know. All right. So this is the cello, which you likely have seen before. So we're going to be starting with a short Sicilian, which was originally a dance from Sicily, and this is by Paradise, and she was a classical composer, so from the same time era as Mozart and Haydn. Hang on, sorry. All right. Can I hear the A, please? Great, thank you. Thank you. Do we have, how strict are you on the, yeah.
As long as we finish up at 6:30.
Okay.
So, if you want to choose between...
Do you just want to do the Dance of the Elves?
Sure.
Should we just skip ahead? Okay. All right, so the next piece we're going to play, this is a piece by a composer, David Popper, who was a cellist, and this piece is called Dance of the Elves. And in this piece, he's kind of thinking of like a mythological creature, an elf. But in this case, don't think of elves as being human-sized. Think of them as being really small. Think of them as being really small and dancing around really quickly, and you'll quickly understand why he wrote it the way he did. Can I hear the A? And needless to say, you'll be able to tell too that David Popper was a cellist. Right? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, so yeah, this is where we can.
Okay,
talk a little
sure.
bit. So, all right, we're gonna ask. You gotta get ready with your questions.
Yeah, because I don't know.
Yeah, we should take questions from. Okay, let's do this a little.
Yeah.
So we're gonna
What do you want me to do?
kind of let's see.
We all move this out of the way.
Okay.
We want to kind of sit so the camera can see us. and
Okay, sure.
If people are watching here, we can.
Yeah.
The mic placement has to be like.
Yeah.
I might have to pass it around, but
Sure.
So, maybe Scott's here. He's always got questions.
Got a couple for that.
Sure.
Yeah. So for this is the cello, and so just to clarify, Charlie was playing the viola da gamba in the beginning, and then when I sat down here, he started playing the cello.
What's the difference between, they both got the fourth string?
The viola da gamba I play on actually it has seven strings.
No.
And so the cello has 4 strings. Yes, this one has 4 strings. The other one has 7 strings on it.
See, I didn't even want to go into what started with violin, viola, cello, and then the other things. I don't even explain that family.
So the violin family, you're right. Violins, violas, cellos.
Right here.
Right. Yeah. the viola da gamba, I mean, actually, it has its own family of instruments, and so there's little ones. You don't put them on your shoulder. Actually, you would still hold them between your knees, and those are called like, so you have little treble viols, you have tenor and bass instruments, and so they would play consort music. Yeah, it's a very similar style, just smaller than this one. And there's a couple others as well. What's interesting though is the viola da gamba is actually the same instrument that's in the double bass family. So the double bass is tuned in fourths, not in fifths, and so violin family instruments are tuned in fifths, like the cello, and the viola da gamba is tuned in fourths. And if you look at the outline of it, actually the outline is the same as the double bass. Of course, this instrument is the slightly smaller version than that.
So then, what about the range? Is it larger than the cello?
So the answer to that is it goes well. The instrument I have is a 7-string instrument. And that one does go lower. It has a low A, which is below the C. As far as high, I mean, you can go very high on it, but you don't really see that in the repertoire. So I'd say the cello you'll commonly see the cello go much higher than the viola da gamba.
Okay, and then just a little bit of historical perspective. Viola da gamba is from the Baroque time period, and so like in terms of like age, and exactly.
Yeah,
repertoire.
so it started actually. It was it kind of became popular in the Renaissance era, and so it kind of was around the same time as the lute. Those two instruments were kind of
What years are we talking about?
The lute.
Like a recording.
Oh no, the lute, which is like a plucked instrument. It looks like kind of
Not a flute.
yeah, it's round and
Peacock thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so I mean, this is probably around like 1500s is when they started becoming popular. The gamba that I have is modeled after one from the 1690s. That's what you see most of them from, and so it's more of like a Baroque era instrument, from that time period.
What's the difference on tuning?
So for cello you have so it's tuned in fifths. So you have A, D, G, C. The viola da gamba is tuned from top to bottom, D, A, E, C. There's a third in the middle, G, D, and then at the very bottom is a very low A. And so those are your 7. Yeah, those are the seven strings. Yeah, and so you heard in one of the pieces in the Hume, you hear a lot of chords, and those and that's how. So that instrument can play a lot more chords than say the cello can.
Yeah, that's interesting, right?
So
more of like a harmonic instrument, like
yeah.
And so who are the? I mean, so just to clarify, Charlie is your niche is the Baroque era, right? But obviously the viola da gamba originated in the Renaissance era, which is before the Baroque era.
But it was
right?
popular in the Baroque era too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very popular. So,
And so, what type of repertoire, or who are the main composers for viola da gamba repertoire?
There's too many to mention.
Like two big ones.
All right, so two big ones are Marin Marais, who was a French gamba player, and another one I'll say. How about the English composer Tobias Hume, who I played Soldier's Resolution for. Those were two big composers. I mean, of course, composers like Bach, Telemann, I think Handel. Yeah, Handel. I mean, they all wrote pieces for the viola da gamba as well. Okay. So yeah.
And now that we know about this era and the instruments a little bit more, we can talk about your relationship to it, and you can plug any. Have you done recordings with the viola da gamba?
I have not done any viola da gamba recordings yet. I mean, I do have a few videos and things like that, but I do have 2 Baroque cello CDs. So one's a solo CD, and then another is a CD of cello duos, actually, that I did with one of my friends. So,
okay.
yeah.
And then different ensembles. I think you maybe are you still part of the Madison? There was a group in Madison, Madison.
Sure. So I primarily play with 3 different ensembles. The first one is the Wisconsin Baroque Ensemble in Madison. I play with Sonata Quattro, which is also in Madison, that we do a lot of work in Milwaukee area too. And then the other one is New Milwaukee Consort, which we do a lot of. Of course, a lot of stuff in Milwaukee. So.
And you're playing cello mainly with those groups?
I play both actually. I can alternate between cello and viola da gamba for those. So. Yeah.
Great. Nice. Okay, so let's see. We have what are we doing with time here? Maybe we should. Any other? Do you have any upcoming performances that you want to plug?
I do not have any upcoming performances. My wife and I are having a baby in September, and so this is my last one. Thank you. Until December, at least. So yeah, until December. Well, December. Yes, I have some things for December. So
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
thank you very much for doing one of these.
Yeah,
events,
happy to. Thanks for
and,
having me.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a very special performance of this series. So, all right. So we're gonna. What are we gonna do next? If you want to introduce our next.
Sure. So the next piece we're going to play is the Beethoven A Major Sonata. So, Heinzel and I have collaborated together now for how many years is it now? 4 years. We've collaborated for 4 years. And so every project that we do, we usually pick out a sonata, and so Heinzel said to me something like, "I really want to work on Beethoven." So, and I was like, perfect. And so this sonata is what makes this sonata interesting is that this is the first cello sonata where the parts are very evenly split between the piano and the cello. In some of the earlier Beethoven sonatas, the piano had more melodic parts and the cello was more of an obligato part, which means it was more of just like an embellishing soloistic voice. And so in this one, you'll hear some parts traded off between the piano and the cello. And also afterwards, I'm certainly happy to show anyone who wants to see the viola da gamba or ask me any questions. I'm certainly happy to talk more about those.
All
right.
It's a little bit closer to you.
Okay. Can I hear the A? Make sure I don't bump it. Is that okay? Yeah. Okay. All right. That should be okay. All right. Thank you. Well, the good news is there's two more movements. The next one is a scherzo, which was a popular form at the time, and it was kind of a fast dance. It kind of came from the minuet, and so this is a really fun movement to play. And then after you'll hear, it's kind of a two-in-one movement. You'll hear a very short, slow movement followed by a fast movement to finish up the sonata. Thanks. All right, one more. So this is Adagio cantabile followed by Allegro vivace.
Adagio is slow, right? And then
Yep,
Allegro
and then
fast.
Allegro is fast. Yeah, can I hear the A actually while we're... Well. Right, well, thanks everyone. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, I'll just do my little conclusion here with these people. And all right. By the way, just want to
Thank you. Yeah.
real quick give a shout out to all the people in the audience here. We have Mark Eskert came today. We have Lynn is a regular. She's catered and cooked quite a bit for us during these promotional events, and her chili is amazing. So she made that for today. And we got Terrence back here. He's done a lot of grilling. He's a really good friend. And then Latasha's cousin. Friend. Okay. You've been to a couple of these here too. Yep. And then Carol from Green Cross is here. Thanks for coming. This is your third one, right? And then Scott's around here. Scott Summers. He's a regular. And Summerfest. Okay. Yeah, we're doing Summerfest. And let's see who else is here. We got Jim. Of course, Jim has been at every single one of these, and he's kind of a behind the scenes guy who's helped out with a lot of little small things here and there, and just gathering people, and he helped me put the makeshift bar together in the garage, and he's just been a really, really good friend. So please join us for some of these live. Let's see here. There we go. Too tall. So please join us for our last one next Saturday on August 14th, 5:30. We have the Neil Davis. It'll be a quartet. A guitarist friend of his, Sam, I forget his last name, it's like Cantrell, I think, and then Yanni Chudno on drums, and George Ballesteros on bass. So that's next Saturday. That'll be our last one for the summer, officially our last one of these promotional events, and then we'll get to some grant writing after that. So thanks a lot. Have a good rest of that weekend.